Hello everyone. Today is the time for Sutta reading again. Okay, you can hear me better now. Okay, so this is the time for the Sutta reading. Last week I made a wee mistake by pressing the wrong button, but I'm hoping that I've learned from that mistake. So okay, let's start with the homage to the Lord Buddha. Namo Dassa Bhagavato Harahato Samha Sambuddhassa. Namo Dassa Bhagavato Harahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Dassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, so we are back to the Sutta reading on the Mula Pariyaya Sutta, the root of all things. So I will start off from where I cut off the mic last time, which was at verse number 10. But before I get to verse number 10, I realized something about verse number 7. So this is where the Buddha talks, where the Buddha says, he perceives beings as beings. Having perceived beings as beings, he conceives beings. He conceives himself in beings. He conceives himself apart from beings. He conceives beings to be mind. He delights in beings. Why is that? Because he has not fully understood it, I say. So I just thought a bit about this little verse, and it's actually a really useful practical application in our day-to-day life as well. Because what this means is, like when it comes to people, when we don't really properly understand what is the self and what is the person, we take things as stable, as will stay the same forever. So when you conceive, let's say your friend, to be stable forever, to be permanent, but this can lead to some misunderstandings in people. Like I know it's the same in my life. Like because people change. Nothing really ever stays the same. But if you take someone as this entity that will stay the same forever, this can cause a lot of friction because you might not be ready to accept some changes that happen in the person, whether it is positive or negative. Like let's say a person that you used to be so friendly with, really close. Next thing you know, it's been a couple of incidents happen, and that is can't even talk to each other, can't even look at each other. It's because we take these things for granted. We assume things will stay the same forever when things don't. Like this is quite obvious when you sort of run into people that you used to know a long time ago, like when you were at a different place in life, and both companies just find a sense of unease, a sense of loss, because you feel like you've lost your friend or something. But the fact is that people change, that beings change. You can't really take this as a stable entity forever. I mean, this might sound quite obvious to some of you, especially ones who are older and more experienced with life. But this is something I think a lot of young people need to know, that things change, people change, life goes on. It's like this that Tupac song, "Life Goes On." But also, this is quite useful to know when it comes to the Buddha Sasana as well. When it is very important in the Buddha Sasana to for our spiritual journey to form a bond, a kalyana mitta, sort of a very useful friend, a very honest friend who's completely honest with you about your positives, about your negatives, is not scared to tell you the truth, but can really help you along the way. But according to the Buddha's dispensation, it takes quite a long time to figure out if someone is a kalyana mitta. You can't just assume straight away. like, okay, this is my kalyana mitta, this is someone I should entrust my spiritual life with. That can end up sometimes in disappointment. So this also happens when you sort of take someone as a stable entity, like the first impressions is everything sort of thinking, which is, I never believed in first impressions. They sometimes they lie a lot, you know. Better to know someone for a while. So it's sort of thing when you see that people change, things are always changing. um, you don't fall into this sanya vipallasa, this perversion of perception. You are more likely to be forgiving of people, and you're more likely to be forgiving of yourself. If someone blames you for being, you know, you used to be a good guy, what happened to you, that kind of thing. So it will help you navigate life better. So this is, you know, sort of a subtle, well, not quite subtle, quite a common sense sort of teaching that we found in this one verse, and there is so many more meanings that one can get from this. As you progress around your spiritual journey, you will realize that when you reflect on anything, any small line of the suttas, there is so much more you learn. Every time you look back at something, you learn something new based on your new experiences. um, and this is really the value of the suttas, and when we study it, because some people are put away from studying the suttas because they're so repetitive and they can be a bit dry. But that's because we are not really reading it properly, you know. It's like, if you try to look at the suttas, this is something that I was trying to explain yesterday, the last time before we cut off. Like, there is a certain way of reading the suttas. It is to look at it as a prescription for whatever issues you're having in your life right now, or in your meditation. So if you have a question in your meditation, if you saw something that puts you off a bit, or something that really amazes you, excites you, that intrigues you, or if you're going through something in your life right now, there are things that you can get from the suttas that really help you, that you can apply into your life. And also, very important, like I mentioned, the nidhana, the beginning, the setting of the, where, how the Buddha gave this discourse. So, like, the audience that he taught to, and the place and the time that he taught in is very important to know as well, because the Buddha always taught for the right place at the right time to the right people. He never really wasted too much time giving the wrong discourse, or uh, telling the wrong things at the wrong time. You know, so it's important to know the context. It's important to put yourself in the shoes of the listeners, and in this particular case, it's a very big group of very learned, highly intellectual monks who are well versed in the Buddha Dhamma, and also the I guess the Vedas as well, because it said they were Brahmins before. So the way that Buddha engineers this discourse is aimed at them, and but we can find a little bit of ourselves in these monks as well, because there are times that we fall into these wrong perceptions ourselves. And when the way the Lord Buddha starts off this discourse with the elements, and then going down, going up and up, like to further and more advanced knowledge that one may gain in your spiritual journey. Each one of these verses is aimed at a particular stage in your journey. So now we have got to the 10th verse, where the Lord Buddha talks about the Brahma. So the previous ones, starting off with beings, then he went on to gods, sort of the gods in heaven, and that the sort of the polytheistic gods, and Pajapati, the creator god, and now he's going on to the Brahma. He perceives Brahma as Brahma. Having perceived Brahma as Brahma, he conceives Brahma. He conceives himself in Brahma. He conceives himself apart from Brahma. He conceives Brahma to be mine. He delights in Brahma. Why is that? because he has not fully understood it, I say. So now he has gone through the entire sort of theistic religious doctrines that were in existence then and is now and probably will be forever, because people always need something to believe. And we've seen how the Lord Buddha goes from the sort of pagan beliefs on to polytheistic beliefs and on to finally monotheistic beliefs, and then the sort of the Hindu Brahma beliefs, which is a form of monotheism, but something more as well. It's quite a complex and deep and interesting philosophy. But at the end of the day, you are looking for another entity for your own deliverance, and this is not the Buddha's way. It's about using your own efforts. It's a human being, because only a human being can really do this job. Goats may do whatever they want, but ultimately our deliverance is up to us, and it's our effort. And it's a very sort of very human doctrine, this Buddha Dhamma. It's giving so much confidence in our own humanity and our own ability to find our own way. So when it comes to the this 10th verse in regards to the Brahma, this is quite an important one, because some people say that the Buddha is a Hindu, and but Hinduism is about Brahmanism, is a Brahma, and there is no regard to the Brahma in Buddhism. There is no regard to a creator God. The Buddha said there is no point in trying to think about creators and trying to think about somebody else to save you. Like, you can do it yourself. Just get it done. So anyway, on to the next few verses is concerning the dhyana, the jhanas, or the dhyanas in Sanskrit. These are meditative attainments that happens due to very good concentration, very high concentration. Um, Within the Buddha Dhamma, the method of meditation we use, um, jhana will happen. It is, in fact, it is kind of essential to reach nibbana according to the suttas. There's a popular belief now that it is not, but I don't know. According to the suttas, it seems to be necessary. But these dhyanas, they are quite they are really different states of being. Very intense, very focused, and pretty much will be the revolutionary experience in your life for one who has not attained it. But it is important not to cling to them, not to get stuck on them, because they are not the final goal itself. And this is sort of the overarching theme of this sutta. You need to understand the overarching theme is this, that like until you get to the final state of nibbana, you should not stop there. Like, and so that's why the Lord Buddha is starting here with the jhanas, because people back in the day and still do now, when they attain the jhana, when they attain the jhana, they think that's it. This is great. This is nibbana for sure. This is so nice, because it's better than everything else you've ever done in your life. Better than the best food you've ever had, the best drinks or drugs or sex you ever had, or whatever you had. It's nothing compared to the jhanas. So once a person gets there, it's very easy to get intoxicated by it, get stuck by it, basically become a jhana junkie. So the Buddha is warning us against these things, to just keep going. You're still not there yet. So he perceives the gods of streaming radiance as the gods of streaming radiance. Having perceived the gods of streaming radiance as the gods of streaming radiance, he conceives the gods of streaming radiance. He conceives himself in the gods of streaming radiance. He conceives himself apart from the gods of streaming radiance. He conceives the gods of streaming radiance to be mind. He delights in the gods of streaming radiance. Why is that? Because he has not fully understood it, I say. So let's look at the footnotes. By mentioning these, all beings occupying the plane of the second jhana, the gods of the limited radiance and the gods of immeasurable radiance should be included for all those who occupy the single level. So this verse is concerning the second jhana, which for those who do not know is well technically explained as suffusing in piti and sukha. The first one is so the previous the Brahma, the previous verse was concerned with the first jhana. So the Brahma, Mahabrahma. So anyway, when you attain the first jhana, that's it is said the cosmological equivalent of that in Buddhism, in this universe is the Mahabrahma. So you feel like the Mahabrahma, you feel like you're part of the Mahabrahma's retinue, and it's important not to get stuck on that. So the second jhana, the first jhana contains the vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata. So that is sustained thought, applied thought, sustained thought. That's on the object when your mind is just on the object. There's piti, which is like rapture, so it's electrical, really nice feeling. And sukha is a very deep, comfortable, absorbed happiness, and the ekagata, which is a oneness of the mind. It's just like straight like this. It's not running everywhere. It's on the ball, like not moving anywhere. So it's all these factors together make the first jhana, while the second jhana is piti, sukha, and ekagata. So anyway, I'm not going to get into the jhanas. It's just telling you that even if you attain the jhana, don't get intoxicated by it. You've still got a lot more work to do. That you might start thinking you are a god or whatever. I'm a Brahma now. I'm one with Brahma. This is great. I figured it out. Finally, it's done. Good job. Well done. Nope, just keep going. Look at the tilakkhana. Look at the go into vipassana. Look at the anicca, anatta, dukkha. That's how we arrive at nibbana. So on to the 12th verse concerning the third jhana. He perceives the gods of refulgent glory as the gods of refulgent glory. Having perceived the gods of refulgent glory as the gods of refulgent glory, he conceives the gods of refulgent glory, he conceives himself in the gods of refulgent glory. He conceives himself apart from the gods of refulgent glory. He conceives the gods of refulgent glory to be mine. He delights in the gods of refulgent glory. Why is that? Because he has not fully understood it, I say. Again, we get to the theme. It's avidya if you're getting stuck here, because you do not fully understand it. So on to the 13th verse, which is concerning the fourth jhana, which is the last of the material jhanas, which is he perceives the gods of great fruit as the gods of great fruit. Having perceived the gods of great fruit as the gods of great fruit, he conceives the gods of great fruit. He conceives himself in the gods of great fruit. He conceives himself apart from the gods of great fruit. He conceives the gods of great fruit to be mine. He delights in the gods of great fruit. Why is that? Because he has not fully understood it, I say. So there's a little footnote there. No, these are divinities. Yeah, it's on the fourth jhana, the divinities of the fourth jhana. So it is said that if you have achieved the jhanas in this life, and after you die, you are sure to be born in these planes of existence as one of these gods. But even that is impermanent, because even gods die. So keep going. Um, so next, he perceives the overlord as the overlord. Having perceived the overlord as the overlord, he conceives the overlord. He conceives himself in the overlord. He conceives himself apart from the overlord. He conceives the overlord to be mine. He delights in the overlord. Why is that? Because he has not fully understood it, I say. So the overlord is a translation of the Pali term Abhibhu. So according to the commentaries, the Attakatha, it says that this term is a designation for the non-percipient realm, called thus because it vanquishes Abhibhavati, the four material aggregates. The identification sounds contrived, especially because the word Abhibhu is a masculine singular noun. Elsewhere, the word appears as part of Baka, the Brahma's claim to theocratic hegemony. Yet, the Atthakatha rejects identifying the Abhibhu with Brahma here as a redundancy. So that's a bit of a technical term. It is the non-percipient realm. So this is basically where the you're going beyond the rupa jhanas, I guess. So here the Brahmas claim to theocratic hegemony is quite a funny story that you will come across later in the Majjima Nikaya in Sutta number 49. So Baka the Brahma thought he was the creator god, because he was the first being to be in existence before the everything else started in the universe. So that's how technically how it works. Like there's the Brahmas, and then the world and everything else starts off. Like everything below the Brahma starts being made. So this Bhakha the Brahma thought, because he saw everything made, he was deluded into thinking that he created this world. So he started. He basically started his own religion and started telling people off, saying, I'm the creator God. And the Buddha went and basically showed him straight. It's quite a funny story. It's basically like a refutation of monotheism. But anyway, we'll get to that eventually one day. And so we are right now at this 15. Now, Lord Buddha starts describing the immaterial jhanas, which is from the fifth jhana onwards. These are dhyanas that are not necessary for enlightenment. But if you follow the training system, the gradual path, you will attain these things. It's very hard to do, but it's not impossible. It is very possible for one who is diligent. So it's really don't get too caught up in these things. So he perceives the base of infinite space as the base of infinite space. Having perceived the base of infinite space as the base of infinite space, he conceives himself as the base of infinite space. He conceives himself in the base of infinite space. He conceives himself apart from the base of infinite space. He conceives the base of infinite space to be mind. He delights in the base of infinite space. Why is that? Because he has not fully understood it, I say. The base of infinite space. Sounds really, really cool. That's because there is no rupa, there is no form anymore. It's just an infinite space. It's another meditative state. This and the next three sections deal with conceiving in relation to the four immaterial planes of existence, the cosmological counterparts of the four immaterial meditative attainments. The base of infinite. So then, that's the first dhyana, the base of infinite space. The next one, he perceives the base of infinite consciousness as the base of infinite consciousness. Having perceived the base of infinite consciousness as the base of infinite consciousness, he conceives himself as the base of infinite consciousness. He conceives himself in the base of infinite consciousness. He conceives himself apart from the base of infinite consciousness. He conceives the base of infinite consciousness to be mind. He delights in the base of infinite consciousness. Why is that? Because he has not fully understood it, I say. So I think that's all the reading that we have time for today. So we finished at verse number 16, and which we will pick up on next Sunday. So we were going through quite a few descriptions of deep meditative states, uh, the jhanas, and if you're a meditator, it's important for you not to start labeling whatever you're feeling right now. This is quite a temptation to do this, and I'm guilty of this as well. Like trying to classify what like which jhana is this, sort of thing. Is it a dhyana? Is it a vipassana jhana and all that? It's important to know these descriptions, but in your meditation, and as Ajahn Sujan explains a lot as well, just try not to conceptualize too much. Try not to label, like I'm in this jhana now. He says, so you're immediately bringing an I into this. You're immediately bringing your ego into this. So then you start thinking better than, less than, same as. You start thinking, oh, now I'm better than these people who meditate who don't get the dhyana. So, oh, like if you don't get, if you think, oh, why can't I get this dhyanas? I'm such a horrible meditator. Like I'm might as well stop meditating. Or you're thinking, I have got this jhana, I'm just like the Buddha or something. So it's important not to start conceptualizing these things, start proliferating on them, start basically, as is described in this sutta, do not to identify with them, not to make them yours, not to start using them as a medal to put on your chest, as a certificate or a degree or whatever. This is something that happens on your meditative journey. So sooner or later, if you stick to it, if you keep your sila properly, and you practice meditation diligently, these things will happen. And if it doesn't, don't worry about it. You are still doing a great job meditating. So many few people meditate properly these days, and it's so wonderful to see meditators. And I hope you all have enjoy your journey in the Dhamma, and have a good day, and see you again on next Saturday. And there's going to be chanting in a bit. Join us for that. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Sadhu.